Hallo allesammen, välkommen tillbaka. Good to see you here again. Today is going to be a little bit more of an advanced lesson, mainly because I have mentioned the importance of knowing, when it comes to nouns, knowing n, I, or et before the noun. So like I book or en bil or ett hus, which are words I'll be using for examples here. It's really important to know those because things like possessive pronouns, mine, yours, his, hers, and stuff like that, those change depending on which noun is being used. So this is where it gets really tricky. Now, I'm just starting to learn this part in class, so even the teacher said this is more advanced. She shouldn't be pointing it out, but she feels she needs to because when she has us write down things, it may not be perfectly right. And instead of just making us think that we got it right without correcting us, she feels it's probably better to correct us. So I'll show you what I'm going to do. So in Norwegian, the possessive pronouns are called, if I could say this right, it's a long word, Eiendomspronomen. Eiendomspronomen. That's a possessive pronouns. So things like mine, yours, his, theirs, and so on. So two main things. You have your singles. So mine, whether it be this is my house, this is my car, this is my book, or a plural version. So those are my books. So my books or my book. Those are going to be different words here. So basically what I'll do, I'm going to just kind of go over, I'll just list them first. How about do it that way? And then I will use them in an example with those three words, okay? So for en words, like en bil, you would say for mine, en would be min. Min. For yours, you would say dine. And to say those in plural form, you have mine or dine. If you use those with an I word, say I book, then you would say mi or di. For plural would be also dine. So plural kind of stays regardless of which ones you're using. For et words, you would say for mine, Mitt. Mitt. For yours, ditt. Ditt. And then it goes into hers and his, and those are pretty much the same regardless if it's plural, singular, all throughout. You would say for hers would be Hennes, Hennes, and for his, Hans, Hans. So those are pretty much the basic words, and there's a couple ways of using it. Or I should say, a couple ways you would say the noun along with the pronoun, or the possessive pronoun. So, for instance, en bil. So to say my car, you could be said one of two ways. You can either say min bil, or you could say it, which would be directly translated to the car mine, or like the car of mine. But it's literally the car mine, which would be bilen min. To say your car, that would be din bil or dinen bil. Oh, sorry, bilen din, bilen din. To say for plural, then you would change. This is kind of adding extra stuff for how you conjugate verbs, or nouns. But you have so multiple those cars or the cars of mine. Like you want to say those are my cars, or my cars, basically, would be either minne biler, minne biler, or bilene mina. So the main keys here are min, me, mitt, and plural minne. For yours, din, di, ditt, or dine. And then for hers. Now, for the I words, so I book, I could also be N. So if you don't want to learn I, you can always use N along with I. So those are interchangeable, I-N. But it does depend on which one you choose to use to which Eiendomspronomen you would use. So if you're going to stick with I, then you'll make sure to put the right pronoun here. So for I book, it would be die book, your book, or me book, my book. Or of course you can switch those around also. So it could be for Boka, di, your book also, or the book of yours. The book yours is what it's literally saying. So Boka di or Boka mi. If you want to say her book, then it would be Boka Hennes, or his book, Boka Hans, or Hennes book, or Hans book. So Hennes and Hans are easy because they don't really change with what you use, as so far for what I've been taught. Then if you want to say something like house, a house is et hus, et hus. So that's an et word, and that's when you would use Mitt or ditt. So Mitt hus or ditt hus. Or, of course, the other way around would be huset Mitt, huset ditt. And then plural, again, mine, dine, so on. So that's a little tough. I wanted to do this one. Didn't want to get too deep into all of what this is about and how that works, but I did want to point it out and give you the building blocks. Possibly you can start using those, because that is one of the things that is extremely important to know when you learn any of the nouns, if it's an N, I, or et noun. So far what I've learned is there is no pattern, there is really no direct way of how you're going to learn it, except for just knowing that it's an N word, it's a I word, or it's an et word. And that's just the way it is, unfortunately. So that is a little bit difficult, but continuously going through them, memorizing. Don't just learn words, so like don't just learn book, hus. Learn that it's I book or et hus, because that will become more important once we get more advanced into learning more stuff. All right, so hopefully this was not too confusing. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down there in the comments, and hopefully I explained this properly. Any of my Norwegian viewers that you know watch me and see what I'm doing, please let me know what I've done wrong, if I have done anything wrong, because I don't want to teach wrong here. But this is what I've learned so far. So anyways, thank you for watching. Again, questions, comments, leave them down below, giving me that thumbs up, and if you haven't already, give me a subscribe. It's much appreciated. So until next time, ha det bra!